Hello everyone, welcome to I Command, your number one source for Imperial Assault news and strategy content. So, in this video I just kind of want to talk very briefly about two things that have happened recently related to Imperial Assault, which was the Star Wars Celebration Asmodee panel, as well as the UK Games Expo tournament that happened this past weekend. Before I do that, I do want to just do some quick housekeeping. The Season 7 7.1 update was posted last week. If you weren't aware, definitely check it out on the homepage. It's got all of the changes listed as well as the reasons for the changes. Also important, it has the dates for coming up for Season 7 playtesting, so make sure to check that out. Know that there are more updates coming, but it is going to end in August, and we're just still gathering data and taking player feedback. We're listening to all your feedback, and we're making tweaks and changes as the playtesting goes on. So, moving on to the main topic. Two things happened in the past few weeks. First, Imperial Assault at Star Wars Celebration in California. Asmodee had a panel where they were in a booth, but they had a panel where they were showing off their Star Wars games. And under Asmodee is both Atomic Mass Games and Fantasy Flight. And Imperial Assault was included both at their booth, actually just at their booth because it wasn't really talked about at the panel, except that at the Asmodee panel, the first question that got asked them during the Q&A section was by a player by someone was, is there any new content coming for Imperial Assault? And the answer was a very unambiguous no. There is no new content being produced for Imperial Assault, and it is considered a quote complete game. Now, it's very important to note that it's important that they said it that way because normally, if there is new content being produced for a game, Asmodee and their subsidiaries they always say we cannot talk about future unreleased content. If you ever try to ask them about something coming out, except in the cases where there is no new content. They are very transparent about that because they don't want to get people's hopes up, and that's exactly what they did here. They were very clear there's no new content coming out for Imperial Assault through Asmodee or Fantasy Flight Games or Atomic Mass Games. And by the way, Atomic Mass Games does not own Imperial Assault. That is not one of the titles that was transferred to them. Imperial Assault is still under FFG's development, but they're not doing anything with it. And in fact, Crabbok, who does a lot of videos for Star Wars games, confirmed this. He actually made an entire video about Imperial Assault being announced as complete and why it's still a great game. Love Crabbok, love his videos. He's a great guy, and I'm really glad he gave Imperial Assault a shout out so that people could know what's going on and that there's no new content coming out because there was the reason why this is such an issue is because a lot of people were holding out hope based on a comment that was made by an Asmodee employee on a interview or stream about Imperial Assault a couple years ago, 1 or 2 years ago, where they said the story of Imperial Assault is not over. And it turned out they were wrong. It turned out that that was not the fact, that was not true, and Imperial Assault is complete. Um, so that moves us into the next thing that happened recently, and then I'm going to get to my larger point here. There was a tournament for Imperial Assault for this complete game at UK Games Expo over the past weekend. And in fact, Alistair Scott recorded some footage of the games being played and gave me permission to share them on this channel. So you've probably already seen some of that footage. Thank you to Alistair for that. But I mention it because this was not a IACP tournament. This was a vanilla FFG tournament with a slight twist, though. So not only did they change some of the rules, they even used their own different map rotation than what is normally used. They had Devereaux Garrison as well as I think Moisture Farm from the Luke Skywalker core set expansion, core set, and then the like a Hoth map from Dengar. But in addition to that, they also featured some custom rules, which was a ban list. So for this tournament, there were custom rules in that the command card for Sabine Rebel Graffiti was banned. You were not allowed to play it in your deck. And then they had what they called a bounty list, where they had 5 figures, 5 deployment cards, where if you included them in your list, at the end of the Swiss rounds, each player that did not have one of these cards in their list would receive a free win to their record. So if they were 2-2, they would have a 3-2 record compared to if somebody was playing this, they would just have 2-2. Now, sadly or interestingly, um, there were two of these cards in the top four, and at the end of the tournament, there were four players that had a 3-1 record after 4 rounds. Two of them had one of these bounty cards in their list, but because they decided to rank players that had a 3-1 record above players that had a 3-2 record, the players that were 2-2 that then became 3-2 artificially still did not rise above the 3-1 who had these bounty cards in their list. So didn't actually change anything. The top four was the same regardless of this bounty list, which, you know, I don't know. But I'm not going to criticize. I don't want to criticize the implementation. The bigger point here is that this community in the UK, we've been talking to people from this community. They're a really great group, and I really appreciate them engaging with us, IACP members. They have largely been uninterested or just not interested in IACP since its early implementation, where things were a bit rocky season 1 through 3, and I think the UK group kind of fell out of love with it during the early growing stages of IACP. Despite the fact that they are not interested in the IACP's community content, there was still interest in changing things up, changing things about the game, about Skirmish to keep it fresh and interesting. Even though also a lot of these folks, based on my conversations that I've had with them recently in the past week, a lot of them don't play Skirmish very often. So even the base Skirmish game without anything new is pretty fresh and interesting as things happen when you don't do them for a year or 2 years. I mean, it's been 3 years since the game basically ended. And things stopped coming for Imperial Assault. So the larger point here is this: if you are someone who has been holding out hope that an official developer for the game is going to come in and rescue it and support it, and that eventually AMG or Atomic Mass Games maybe or FFG or Asmodee is going to surprise everyone with a brand new release, a brand new expansion that they've just been holding on to all this time for the last 3 years. It's been worked on, but we couldn't tell anybody. I highly recommend that you not wait for that any longer. And if you are one of the players who doesn't believe Imperial Assault is a complete game, as Asmodee has said it is, that there is room for more, that want to see more content for this game, you pretty much have two options. Your first option is to make that content yourself, homebrew as it's called. And the second option is to go out, look around, and see what other fans are making, what other community content is out there that you can engage with and support. And that's what it really takes is these fan projects, they're very difficult because unlike FFG, people who develop fan content, they're not getting paid for it. It's not their job. People do it out of love and out of their own free time, and they need help. They need support. So anything you can do, whether it's, IACP or whether it's some users forum post on Board Game Geek with their fan made content. If it's something that you are interested in, that you want to support, like jump in, leave a comment, leave feedback, tell people you're interested, because really that's the most important thing for us that make custom content for the game, that make fan made content, is, frankly, we do it because, and I mean, I'm speaking for other people, but I believe other people share this. I do it because, and we do it because we make the content because it's the content that we want to see in the game that doesn't exist yet, and we want to see it, so we're making it happen. But it's great, and it's so much better to know that other players are enjoying and sharing our love of this content we're making and benefiting from it. And knowing that by getting people's feedback, by hearing that people are interested, is a huge motivator and is really big for preventing burnout, for preventing projects from stalling out. And there's lots of fan-made projects out there. There's IACP, there's custom campaigns being made. There's the Imperial Commander app project that lets people play against the computer with the base campaign instead of having to use the app. So if you are someone who is holding out hope that there's something official coming down the pipeline, it's not. And if you are also someone who wants to see the game grow and change, like, you got to go out there and support the community and the fan made projects that are out there, and that's how you're going to get new content for Imperial Assault. And I just wanted to say that. And I know I shouldn't really do these unscripted videos, but there you go. Thank you for listening to my rant, and support your community, support the Imperial Assault community. Okay, bye.